Okay, so welcome. My name is Jake Marsh, and I work at Penn State Behrend. I'm an industry relations coordinator, so that's a catch-all term for helping with a bunch of projects related to students working with industry and with entrepreneurs to gain their own experience, but also to have an impact on the community around us. And the community around us is pretty broad. I'll show you a map of like what we serve. But this is, one of the main things that I do and what I'm going to talk about tonight, and what is our Beehive site, and what's the first Beehive site, in fact, is Innovation Commons. We are located at Penn State Behrend. The physical location is in our business and engineering building. We have a nice space that you can't miss. It's real open to everyone, try to inspire some people. And I'll be telling you all about that. What I have up here that says the open lab environment at work is what Penn State Behrend thinks of itself as an open laboratory. What that means is that we are, as a university, as a college, a laboratory that you can go to get work done at, right? So this is a way for, that's a bad definition, but it's a way for the university to be open to the public as a place to go and work on new things. And that's almost exclusively what we do. There's a lot of ways to engage with Penn State specifically, Penn State Behrend specifically, and I kind of have them ordered in like from the largest engagement on the bottom pyramid here to the easiest. So to sum things up, Knowledge Park is our research and business park, 250,000 square feet of Class A office space, industrial space as well. So it's a big commitment to move it to Knowledge Park. At a slightly less committed level is sponsored research projects. So we'll work with a company and they'll say, I need professors to lead student projects, I need non-disclosure agreements and IP agreements, and I have money to pay for all of that. So then that sponsor essentially contracts the school on a project, whether it's environmental science or it's science or it's engineering. That allows a more contractual level of engagement with the school. Slightly even easier is senior design projects, and senior design projects are done from the fall to spring, every single year. The plastics program does it even 3 semesters. You get a team of students. They spend their senior year working on a project for you. We do about 90, a couple of years ago when I looked last, we did 90 projects that year. About 70% were direct for industry in our region. And there is a cost associated with those, but it's low, very low. If you're a small business, less than 10 people, it's $500. And even the peak price is still really affordable. But the easiest way, even with this has barriers, right? So the senior design project, only certain times of the year, there's a cost associated with it. You get a team of students, but they're doing it for a grade. So they could get a C, for example. That would not be great. So we needed one more level. And that's where we decided we needed a level with almost no barrier at all. And that's what we're doing with Innovation Commons. So, and the rest of the Innovation Beehive work. So all of the services that Innovation Commons does are free to everyone. The only thing that we ever need an investment on is supplies. Like, for example, if you need a certain type of metal cut or if you need a certain type of plastic used for your product, we would ask you to buy it for us. But everything is free. And intellectual property is also super approachable in this setting. So you own it. That's the bottom line. How does the IP work here? You own it. End of sentence. Now it's on you to handle the IP, but it's yours. Penn State stays out of it. So we've got this very low level of engagement, or very easy level of engagement. And the way that we think about this is really, it's your idea. You do have to have an original idea. But it's your idea, it's our expertise. So what we take advantage of is the students' expertise and their skill and their creativity. And how we do it is we pay them to work for you. So essentially, we pay the students to open the lab, and the students will spend time with you meeting and doing iterative design until we're happy with the product we've created for you. One way to, or probably the best way to describe this is we are a product design and rapid prototyping center. So that product design phase has gotten kind of broad. We help with products that are plastic, so physical products. We're easy with those. We can do just about any other type of prototype that you can come up with. If it's something we can build with your hands. We do all of the CAD work, so anything that you need done in CAD, we will do. We have a laser cutter. We have many 3D printers. But we also do app design. I'll talk, so what we've started recently doing, which is unique, is app design as a service for free, but with a very strong focus on user experience. So one of the main problems with designing an app, one of the very common problems, is bad user experience. We've all been there, where you pick up an app and you think you know how much it works, and it works wrong in every way, and you hate everything about it. So, and then that company's got to go back to their developers and pay them all scads of money to redesign the app so it works like you would want it to work. So our lab will go through all of that process of research to design the user interface that is well designed and not need to be redesigned. We do that for free as well. We can do some actual programming, but we limit that. We limit what we do in programming primarily because it costs so many man hours that it just can't be done with the way that we're doing it. So we'll do some programming. We'll do simple programming, and we'll be glad to do that. But when it comes to the real advanced stuff, we will refer you away to a local professional who codes. And we have done that recently. And in fact, the package that we gave him with our design, he said, was better than what he pays for. Done by students, exclusively students on that project. A few other things that we do. We love to give tours. If you need a tour, please tell me. I would love to do that. Students love to do it too. We'll do quick consultations for any kind of engineering problem. So if you have an engineering problem, you need to call somebody and call me first. That's fine. We can even like brainstorm it. Just the other day, we have a client that we just really needed to sit with the whole crew and brainstorm simplifications of their design. So we'll be glad to do that. We started something new, Industry 4.0 consultation. I'm going to skip that and then come back to it. And we are on-call support for schools. And I'll broaden that. We're on-call support for just about anybody. If you've got a problem with 3D printers, for example, we're the ones to call. For schools, although, we, some years ago, many years ago, this group that includes the Beehive network, bought them all 3D printers. So we bought one for 19 local high schools. One each, we let them pick what they wanted out of the list. And we support those. So if your elementary school, your high school is 3D printers, then great, we will go to you to fix them for free. We also have a few unique capabilities. We have a large scale 3D printer. We can print things up to a cubic meter. So if I kind of crouch down, I easily could print myself. The machine is very, I can stand up inside this machine. I know that's not saying a lot, but I can stand up inside of there. And it does a great job. We temporarily cannot 3D scan your stuff, but we will be able to do that again soon. Our laser scanner was broken, but it's a laser scanner that can get down to extremely fine details. So if you leave a thick enough fingerprint on something, we'll pick it up. And we have a lot of materials that we can work with. So when I say, we can have 3D printers, we do a pretty broad mix of materials. So for your examples, traditionally people use a plastic called polylactic acid, PLA, very, very cheap to print with, brittle, but hard. But we can also do more flexible materials in the nylon area, but then we do some weird ones. So we can print clay. So literally wet clay. We print, comes out in little like toothpaste essentially, very quickly. So we can do ceramics now. And we have some other unique capabilities. So if you need your product made out of something a little bit flexible or extremely stiff and durable, we can do those things. And one of our priorities is that they're easy to access. So you can literally walk in, we knock on the door and come in. You can email us at this email address, which will be up on many slides, and we'll make sure that you can see it as well. innovatebehrend@psu.edu. You can call us directly. We're on social media at innovatebehrend. Okay, so I told you I would come back to Industry 4.0, so that's where I'm going to do it. It's a broad area, and I will say that we are very rapidly developing multiple programs for this. So everything that we're doing is under development. So if there's something that you need in this area, you're not sure if we do it or not, ask, because maybe we don't, but we might do it for you because we're still developing this stuff. So our intent is to bring in, we've already done a lot of this, and the rest of it will be done soon, but we have high-end computers that we can use. We're getting robotic arms so that we can train you on the use of robotic arms when you're working either with them or having them work for you. We'll have conveyor belts, 3D scanning, visual system that recognizes objects, so you can essentially program the robot arm to recognize certain things, to do certain things because of that. And we have virtual and augmented reality. We have a lot of that, actually. It's like a separate lab, but really a lot going on there. But what do we do with Industry 4.0? It's two-pronged at the moment. One is products directly for industry. So if your industry has a ton of data and is not looking at it at all, we will help look at your data. So simple data analytics is often a big problem, especially with a lot of companies that go ahead and install 1,000 sensors, but they don't look at the data or they don't understand it. We'll help you understand it. We will also give general advice on how you can implement these solutions in your own factory. A few different options, try them out with you. This is very personalized, custom experience. So we will meet with you and really extensively scope out the project. Otherwise, and here are a few we're working with: Berry, Zern, Airborne, Plasticos, Plastec, Data Inventions, Logic. Data Inventions and Logic are 4.0 companies. These other are all manufacturers in the region. And you know, we're also providing, the other arm of this is we're providing training, workforce training. So right now we have a series in place, and we are still indeed looking for people to do our Excel training, which is free right now. It will not be free forever, so if you want to jump in on Excel, please do. But then it moves up into higher levels of data, robotics, and those are still under development, but we have a training pipeline that we're establishing for workforce, so that you can get those people trained up in your own company, or so that we can upskill people so that they can get new positions. They were out of work. So a little bit about the students, because I like talking about them. It's very important. This is going to be relevant to everybody, but this is a student staffed lab. In fact, they're there far, far more often than I am. They almost run everything. And these are all undergraduates. And it's still going fantastically well. So if you think undergraduates are, you know, not as useful as graduate students, you're wrong. In fact, they're very suited for this kind of work because it's rapid, it changes quickly, it gives you a lot of experience in different areas. It's great. We pay them, so they are paid a pretty good wage, in my opinion, at least. We like there to be progressive responsibility and knowledge. So I hire students as sophomores. I want to keep them all the way until they're seniors, and I expect them to really change during that period. So one student individually, it was very difficult. It was very inexperienced with communication, very inexperienced, made him very anxious. And now he has a position where he travels around the country doing podcasts and presentations in front of audiences, and it was nuts. And that he progressed to the point where he was our head front person. So I find that all very, very important. Soft skills, engineering skills in additive manufacturing, product design, electronics, industry 4.0, project management, extremely important. The students work on multiple projects at the same time. They have to be able to manage that. It's not easy, is it? I mean, it depends. Classes and stuff. There you go. Classes too, right? And we like this to be career development for them, so it gets them inroads into companies that they could potentially work for. We make sure that they leave the lab with a portfolio that's really thick, with lots of pictures of great projects they've worked on. And some of them become entrepreneurs themselves. In fact, this has happened multiple times. Students, I've got now four new businesses that students started right out of our lab. Students that worked at our lab. We've been here in business for 6 years. 4 of the students started their own businesses. So one of them started 2 businesses. So in fact, one of the students that left school altogether from our lab now has business as well. So the students wind up becoming entrepreneurs because they help so many of them that they realize that this is not as hard as it seems. It's hard, but once you've helped them all the shortcuts there. You can see them. And I basically hire students that either have the skill already that I need, or they're self-learners, self-teachers. They teach themselves everything they need and they use it. So we're also focused, our other focus other than the students is the service to the community. So we want to make a difference. We want to have an economic impact. And I've written a lot up here. I don't want to read it all except to say that we care about all parts of the community. We want to help them all. We've had people from all walks of life, all levels of funding and backing. We've had companies work with us that are huge and others that are very small. And we're open to all of that. We will do this literally for anyone. Let's see, what else do I have up here that's important? We also help, our university, of course. But like I wrote here at the bottom, this is the part, open-minded project accessibility. Just ask, we'll try. Just ask, we'll try. I don't like to say no. We try to avoid saying no to any project. Of course, there are some that will say, we've gone as far as we can. Here's someone you should talk to next. That's the point. So how does the Innovation Beehive Network work? So you've heard a lot about it in the other parts of the series. What is the Beehive Network? Well, it is 4 universities and the Erie County Library System, all taking a piece of the entrepreneurship puzzle. So I have this listed like sort of in order. It's not really like that, but it gives you a sense of how you might flow through the Beehive Network. So you come in with your idea and it's half-baked. You're not even, where yet. You're just half-baked idea. You go to the Erie County Library, you go to Glasgow Library, you work in their makerspace, you do some research, you attend some courses on intellectual property with the local attorney, you do a course on entrepreneurship, on finance, whatever. These are all offered at the library. We love them for that. And then once you've got an idea that is a little bit more mature, you're ready to go, then you enter this network. You can start anywhere, but a good place to start, particularly if you've never done anything, is Gannon. Gannon helps you with those early stages of entrepreneurship. What does your pitch deck look like? And how do we help you fill in all those slides that are really necessary? What's your finances? What's your financial plan look like compared to other businesses that are similar to you? So that's a great place to start, especially if you know nothing about what you're doing. Next would be Behrend, if you're building a physical product or an app, and or Mercyhurst. And Behrend, we talked about. Mercyhurst does business intelligence. So watch their video, but who's your customer? What do they really want? Where should you be selling this? How? Who are your competitors? What do they do? How can you beat them, or at least enter the market, right? And then finally, once you've got a product, you know how you're going to sell it. You need a brand and a logo and messaging. What is your brand? Are you a single product company, or are you a company that has many products? That are all in a certain category. These are all things that you can consider. And the goal is really that you leave the network, the business that is ready for pitching in front of Ben Franklin Technology Partners, or in front of actual angel investors like 1855 or Bridgeway, or not Bridgeway, Blue Tree. Or you maybe get a business loan through someone like Bridgeway. But we want to make it so that when you get there, you have everything already. So you're a no-brainer, and they'll give you money. I mentioned that we have a large service area. So originally, all of our funding came from Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority and Penn State University. So, and Mercyhurst put some into the Beehive at the beginning as well. But that was very limited to Erie County, so we focused and we started there. But since then, we got a grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission to expand, to build all the rest of the beehives. Another from Gaming Revenue Authority. We got funding from the Economic Development Administration, which is federal. But more recently, we got money again from ARC, a big, nice funding, so that we could expand to a larger area. So all of this that we see here is in our scope right now, in our service area. And we're going about reaching these areas by essentially reaching out to economic development organizations, colleges, library systems are very, very good, and setting up events that we can go to, either similar to this, or we'll bring the whole group and have a big event and invite everybody. And we're having some success in a lot of these counties in getting engaged. Some others are more difficult, but if you're in this area, we're really interested. If you're anywhere else, we're still interested. A great project, regardless of where it's from, we will take so that the students get the experience doing that project. But we will highly focus on this area, particularly because that's who we got funding to help. I wanted to focus on a few projects and a few students. And so I'm going to start with John. Why? John was of the first three. I mean, we had three at the beginning, and he was there. So he's like legit founder of Innovation Commons, and he later became a founder himself of Bayfront Glass, which was for a time Erie's only glass recycling option, and now it's one of only two. And so he built that business while he was doing a master's at Behrend in manufacturing management. And when he got his master's, that's what he does. He does that full time. While he was there, he worked on 50 projects. Two of the products that he made are in more than 300 stores now. And he was able to also take advantage of getting early positions through us. Some of the products that he worked on, so these are good stories. In fact, can you break open that thing and start cleaning this up? But in any case, one of his biggest successes was starting out with a company called Lake Erie Rubber and Manufacturing. This was a company that a senior engineer from GE Transportation was looking for something new, bought two of these companies, folded them, put them together, and was making a lot of rubber products for GE Transportation. And when GE Transportation downsized, he lost a lot of that business. So they needed a product line that they made themselves. That was theirs forever. So they thought dog toys would be a good idea. They'd never designed a dog toy before, so they didn't know where to start. Their original dog toy was this one, but without this bump in the middle. And in fact, we were able, like right away, to see that it's just a snap. And even like this, with their super easy solution for a bump in the middle, still weak. So they decided they were going to go with the ball first. So here's one of our prototypes. Here's the final ball that they sell. It's the best rubber you can get, like literally. You could eat this, I wouldn't do that. But it also floats in water, but it's still super dense. So as a great dog toy, indestructible, really.
I got a baby can share anything.
Not that. Yeah, not good from the bar. The next one was a fire hydrant, and so this company is looking to compete with Kong, right?
Yeah.
So they've got to get a number of products on the market, and we were able to help them with that. And since then, we finished the fire hydrant, and we did a third one that's still secret. But that we've gone on with this company, Lake Erie Rubber, to look at Industry 4.0 in their company. So we love engaging with companies that are going to come back, do other products or other projects. They like test the water as something easy. So they tested the water with the Innovation Commons, and now we have them engaged at a higher level. So we love that. Another one is this Pro Dome seal. So this one was good because it came in with these simple prototypes. It's made out, I don't even know what it's made out of. But he basically said, yeah, something like this, and I need to keep the birds and the bees out of my propane tank on my property. So they have the lid, it's got a U-shaped hole in it, said I'm sick of the birds getting in here. And we did a few iterations, that we proposed, and, even got to print them out of flexible material so that he could test it. This is what he sells, Prodome seal, and works fantastically well. He's the only person in the world that sells it, anything that does this. And he's a local Erie name. So a couple good project ideas. Another was Aaron Lewis. Can you read that bowl? This is good. So Aaron Lewis also, so he actually did the fire second. He did a ton of work with Zern. So Zern needed 3D scans of some of the products that they make. Sounds weird, why would you need a 3D scan if you already have it? But the issue is the casts, that they've been casting these forever. And they wear out and they no longer match the drawings. So we do the 3D scan, they compare them to the drawings and see how they match. And I should give them credit because they're the reason we have a 3D scanner. It's their 3D scanner. So that was a tremendous, product that they lent to us. Another interesting one is berry plastic. So this is good. This is interesting, and in industry people need to hear a project like this. Berry had us come in because they were curious how we could help, and we were curious how we could help too. So after the students got a walk around, one of the thoughts was, boy, we could probably replace some of these parts with 3D printed parts, and it'd be cheaper to make them. And it turns out it's way cheaper. Holy cow. So this product, when it's made out of steel, and they buy it from their supplier, $1,000. This printed in nylon, which is in my hand, $3. So there's a little bit of a difference there. So, but that's not the only thing that's awesome about this. And that's going to sort of fill you in real quick, but Berry Plastics make bottle caps. If you've ever taken off a cap from your Pepsi, you probably grabbed a product that was made in Erie, Pennsylvania. And they go through these machines at 1,000 miles an hour. It's crazy. You can't see it. It's like a blur. And they have to round corners. Very simple. So you replace this not with metal with something made of plastic. Product rounds the corner just fine. You replace this occasionally so it doesn't break. One of the convenient things, though, is that when they do break, they cost $3, right? But you can also decide when they're going to break, essentially, by changing the properties of the 3D printing process. So there's a lot of things you can adjust with 3D printing. So, we essentially made them a product that they can decide how much pressure it takes to break. So when their line jams and caps are flying everywhere, they can decide that this is going to break instead of something downstream of it that costs $10,000. They've already had it happen. So this broke on their line. This came from their line. It's a good example of how these parts might shatter. And we've done some other parts for them too. So they followed through. They bought 5 big expensive 3D printers. They've been chugging out parts ever since. And we're working on doing even more with them in another area with actual prototyping. We do that a lot with companies, is developing ways to fast prototype stuff. But in the meantime, I mean, the goal was perfect, or the outcome was perfect, because we got in, we found the problem, we fixed the problem, we taught them how to fix it, and then we left. So now they can handle all of that. So that's important for us. Aaron was instrumental in that as well. So, but he also started his own business. He makes his business, his was Amplight. And so he made the chargeable. So it fits your phone, right? So you put your phone right here, your kid. This is your kid in the backseat of your car. Puts his phone right there. You got a charging pack right here. There's branding on it. And so he can eat your kid, he can eat his snacks while watching his phone in the back seat of the car. If he drops it, it typically lands with the heavy side down and keeps all the popcorn in the bowl or whatever. Right? Anyway, closes, it's collapsible. So he invented that product. You can still buy it. He had 2,500 units made. And I think right now he's focusing on his professional career, but I mean, pretty cool. Let's do 2,500 units. It's the wrong device. There it is. Here's one more example, and then move on to something. This is Eli, and Eli also did tons of work with CERN, but he tended to be more on the Industry 4.0 side of things. That was his interest. So he was interested in VR. He was interested in 3D scanning. He was interested in virtual tours. So we had this building design that he finished. You can go through there in VR with VR headset. He went on, one of his cool projects was he developed a new kind of chef knife for one of our clients that kind of forces you to hold the knife right. So you have to hold it right. You can't, like, it feels weird if you hold it wrong. So that's pretty cool. But he got, while he was in school, an internship with an Industry 4.0 company they're the same company, so Steel Toe Construction and the Meth Innovation Lab. And that was a launching point for him to get a project management position in a software startup in the construction industry. So he was connected to the construction industry, connected to the Industry 4.0 industry. He became a good project manager while he was working at the Commons as our sort of student project manager. So his career is skyrocketing. And so I'd like to brag about that a bit. But it kind of gives you an idea. So I'm going to skip this slide altogether. It's too much information. I talked about a lot of it first. Except to say that late in 2020, we hit our 200 products milestone, which we thought was pretty cool. Since then, we've gone well way. I'm not sure the exact number right now, but definitely we're definitely over that. Like, I don't know, it's a lot. A few, I've got some products that I could talk to you through. This one is an interesting one because it just tells you a little bit about the way the students think. This is a tool, Fast Framer. So thank you. So if you're building a wall alone, it's a pain. Comes apart constantly. Let's stay square. This is very simple. It just holds the stud onto the frame for you square. So you can toe and screw here, measure over to the next, mark it with a pencil, pull it up, see pencil mark through a little slit, put it on, do the next one, keep going. Piece of cake. But when he came in with this idea, it had moving parts, it had magnets and hinges, and the students looked at it and said, nah, that should be one part. You should be able to stamp it out of that. And this is the final product of their effort. And it is patented, and they are named as inventors on the patent. And it is being manufactured in Northeast Pennsylvania. So they sold half of that intellectual property to that company. So I think they're looking to actually resell that intellectual property. So if you want to buy an interesting piece of IP, there you go. But he was able to come in with his idea, and within 9 months had the product, the provisional patent, and had sold the idea. So that's entrance to exit in 9 months, which is insane. Not every product goes that well. I mean, I'm using it as an example for a reason, but I already talked about that. I already talked about this too. So other than here are some cute dogs using the toys, very necessary that we look at the cute dogs. This one was particularly cool, just to come back to it for a second, because all the branding was done by Edinburgh University's Beehive. So that was done by Edinburgh students, and it's clever and cute as well, which is fantastic. They have since rebranded. They haven't changed their logo, they're keeping that. But they've since rebranded to this they've gone full hippie on their product line, which I love. I think it's fun. But they hired local to get that graphic designer. So that's another way that this is all working, is really inspiring people to keep what they're doing local. So it helps with our local economy. So what do I want from you? I want referrals and new projects. So if you have a company that you work with, that you work for, a small business that you know that needs a little help, please send them to us. I want you to hire our students because they are amazingly skilled. It's actually a little difficult to describe what they do. I think I tried my best right now, but this is a skill set with a broad range of skill. They have to have soft skills, they have to have CAD skills, they have to be able to think creatively, solve difficult problems that someone else could not solve. And they've demonstrated that they can. And lastly, of course, we take donations. We are funded entirely by grants and donations. And that keeps us alive, keeps us free, and it keeps us really moving forward creatively and professionally. So that's my last slide. I'm going to show. I'll show this one just to brag. People are paying attention. So you will find us if you Google us. We are result number 1, which makes us all feel very good. But we also love to amplify the projects that we do by using the tools that the universities have, which is influence. So we push stuff out on social media about our product that we help you with. We call the newspapers to see if they're interested in it or not. So we make an effort to advertise the products that we do. Essentially, it's not advertising, but you know what I mean. So here's our contact information, which I'll just leave up.